I like it.
That's what you're here for, really, isn't it?
Extremely high quality.
You think you know a little bit about it. You've got some super-duper little bits and pieces of jewellery here.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Would you rather I said £4,000 today?
We're not going to sell it, obviously.
I love antique jewellery, and when I see a brooch like this in the box, it really gets to me. And when we look at this box here, to me, that looks a little bit like a kind of a horse's hoof. It doesn't look like a box from this country. It looks like a European box, just in its style and in its construction. But, of course, when we reveal what's inside the box, it does it full justice, doesn't it? What an absolutely fantastic garnet bracelet that is. You were going to tell me something about the actual place where you think it may have come from originally.
Apparently, my great-great-grandmother was left them by her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law had, or somebody in her family before that, had bought them from the Swedish royal family sometime during the 19th century, apparently, and they've become known as the crown jewels in our family.
Quite justifiably.
Yeah.
These are garnets, though, really of a very deep blood red colour. Now, that gemstone, the garnet, is quite a popular stone. In the 19th century, you get it in jewellery in Germany, in Czechoslovakia, and it would be quite normal to assume that you'd also get this kind of stone set in jewellery in perhaps Stockholm, you know, in Sweden. Now, we can't confirm for certain about the royal connection, can we?
No.
It's family hearsay.
Yes.
Look at the garnets, first of all. You'll see that they're all faceted individually. You've got these pear-shaped stones at the side of the frame, smaller ones in towards the centre, and then the cabochon cut right in the middle. These are called pyrope stones, but they're garnets of a particular density of colour, and that's what makes them so beautiful. Now, with all those garnets, the one that really dwarfs them all is this massive faceted garnet in the middle of the bangle, in a border of little half pearls, and then you've got some little drops for the ears here. Quite often with this kind of jewellery, the settings, the gold mounts, are actually quite low-grade gold. So it's kind of, if you like, 9-carat gold mountings, which sort of doesn't really do justice to the sheer expanse and beauty of the set. Do you wear this at all?
I can't wear the bracelet. It's a bit small and therefore quite wide and quite uncomfortable. And I've never had an occasion where I've needed something that splendid.
Total value for this set, £4,000 to £5,000.
That's fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Now, before I come on to this rather curious plum-coloured box, let's have a little chat about the ring first, which is fairly straightforward. And there's a connection between the gentleman in the photograph, isn't there, and the ring. Tell me what that connection might be.
Originally, the ring was actually a tie pin, and it was presented to my grandfather, the picture at the back there, who was Thomas Walker. He was a footman at Buckingham Palace, and he was a footman to King George V. When the war was declared, he had to go out to France as a dispatch rider. And then King George V came out to visit the troops, and he came on horseback. And when he came near the troops all clapped and cheered, and his horse reared, and he fell quite heavily. And fortunately, my grandfather was there, and he recognised him because he'd been his footman, and he carried him to safety in a chateau.
So he was quite badly hurt?
He was actually quite badly hurt, and he was actually awarded the Victoria Medal, and then as a personal present was a tie pin, and then that was made into a ring for my mother to wear.
So, a fairly extraordinary, singular event. It's a great story. The ring itself has got a cipher, and you can see here George V, G with a V, George V with the crown surmount above it. He enamelled in blue and white and tiny diamond chips. It's worn, it's scratched, but it has a unique story. If I were to say that I'm sure that a collector, knowing the background to it, would pay £800 to £1,200 for it. Now let's move on to this rather, I have to say, worn box with gold tooling round the edge, and in the centre, an interesting little cipher. That little gold cipher tells me that is something that goes back, dare I say, to the Russian royal family, to the Tsar. Tell me a bit about that and what the connection is between this and the lady on the left.
Well, the lady on the left was called Jean Dewar. She worked at Buckingham Palace as well. And when Nicholas II, the Tsar of Russia, came over in 1908, she was the person who looked after his room and him. And when he left, he presented her with the brooch that's inside that box.
Now, one little point there. You mentioned 1908, that it was the Tsar who came over to London, Buckingham Palace. I couldn't find a record of that, but I wonder if it's possible. In 1908, the Tsar's mother came over and stayed at Buckingham Palace with her sister, who was, of course, the Queen to Edward VII. Right, the brooch itself. 2 blue stones, sapphires. The little leaves underneath, well, they're green gold. Now, that means they've put a bit of silver in to create the green colour. So that's a bit of subtlety. OK, well, let's have a little look at the brooch now. On the pin, did you see there a little tiny impression halfway along the pin? It's a monogram that tells me that this was made by a craftsman called Thielemann. And he was a craftsman who did work for, guess who? Peter Carl Fabergé.
Ah.
It's in the original presentation case. It's in absolutely pristine condition. Subject to the affirmation of this connection directly through to the Tsar, or maybe to his mother, £8,000 to £12,000.
Goodness.
So Jean and Thomas left a legacy that today has matured into something quite significant. I congratulate you.
Thank you so much.
You know, I'd like to think that most people who would look at this ring would consider it to be very pretty. Do you not think it's a very pretty ring?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Naturalistic, I suppose, might be a word to describe it. You've got a cushion-shaped blue stone in the middle, surrounded by little green beads, with 3 separate sections of further smaller blue stones. What do you know about it?
My grandmother was one of 14, and her eldest sister went to become a companion to a lady in the early 1900s. And she stayed with her for, I think, the rest of her
I think the rest of her life, yeah. She went there to earn a living to send money back to the rest of the family so that they could live. So she was a companion to this very wealthy lady in Kensington. They lived in Sheffield Terrace in Kensington.
What do you know about it? Because you know a little bit about it, don't you? At least you think you know a little bit about it.
So we think it's a Sybil Dunlop ring because Sybil Dunlop had a shop in Kensington High Street. And it was always called the Sybil Dunlop ring.
Yeah.
She was highly successful. She went right through the 1920s and 1930s producing this kind of jewellery. She introduced a style, the carpet of gems, as it was known, and it became her sort of name, her reputation. And she had tremendous business sense in tandem with technical virtuosity. She understood colour. She introduced lots and lots of different colourful gemstones. Now, OK, should we talk about what the stones are? The largest stone in the centre is a cushion-shaped Sri Lankan sapphire. How do I know that? Because they are characteristically very, very pale blue colour. First good point.
Yes.
Second point, the small trefoils at the cardinal points are smaller round sapphires. What I like about it are the green beads, don't you?
Yes.
I just think they're so pretty. They are green chalcedony, which is a natural green hard stone, like agate, if you like. This example is not signed, but I'm absolutely confident that it's by her. Sybil made these beautiful rings, bracelets and necklaces, and it so much screams her style. All right, so shall we now talk a little bit about what I think it's worth? I think the sapphire probably weighs around about, say, 4 carats, maybe 4.5 carats. But it's all about the Dunlop name, this particular ring. So I think that if you were to sell it at auction, it would make something in the region of £2 £2,500 to £3,000.
Oh, gosh. We're not going to sell it, obviously.
No, I don't think you will.
No. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good to hear that it was hers. That,
Exactly.
That the story was true.
Yes. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I was doing a valuation for a customer and we were chatting and she said to me, tell me something, what's the most important feature about a piece of jewellery? And I said to her, do you know something? It's how wearable the item is. Now, these two pieces of jewellery are incredibly wearable. They were made in totally different countries, both made in around about 1905. Now, what's the background story with them?
I inherited them from an elderly neighbour. She in turn got them from her maiden aunt, who did a lot of private nursing. If she hadn't killed anybody off in the process, they usually gave her a parting gift.
Well, as far as the story about killing them off is concerned, I'll set that one to one side. All right, well, let's take the small one first at the bottom. Brooch, it is enamelled. It is fashioned as a heart. In the middle is a flower. The flower is set with a sapphire in a border of half pearls. Where would it have been made? In this country.
Right.
So that's that. Now, we'll leave that one. Let's have a look at the piece at the top. She's very, very similar because of the colours, but a totally different piece. Now, do you see here at the top, there's a little gold suspension ring. Now, that is stamped with a little mark 56, which tells me it is Russian. The flower, isn't it sweet? Do you agree?
I do. I haven't worn it more than a couple of times.
Well, I'm glad you haven't worn it very much because it's also in surprisingly good condition as well. Now, can you see the two little leaves are set with sparkly white stones? Tiny chips of, guess what? They're diamonds. Little rose-cut diamonds.
Right.
And a little bud of ruby. I think you'll find that's probably a Russian ruby.
All right.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about what their potential value is. Have you ever had them valued?
Well, I did take them to Cardiff and showed a local dealer,
Right.
and he offered me £180 for the both of them.
All right. This little sentimental brooch is very sweet. That would sell in auction for probably £250 to £300. So there's your offer in one
Plus,
piece. The Russian 1905 pendant at auction, talking about £1,000 for
Good
it.
gosh.
You've got some super duper little bits and pieces of jewellery here.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Inside this very unprepossessing cardboard box is an absolutely wonderful pendant. What an opal that is. It's perfect. With opals, you often get cracks and chips and bits of wear, but I've looked at it and there's no sort of cracks and chips there at all. So let's hear a little bit more about the background, please. You must tell me.
So this was gifted to me for my 18th birthday, so not that long ago.
At all, no.
At all. From a very dear family friend who we always affectionately called Nana. And the story that I was told was that her mother went to Australia at the end of sort of late 1800s, early 1900s, and she came back to Belfast with some beautiful opals and they were made into this jewellery. As an 18-year-old, you appreciate the beauty, but it's not really your taste. But I've just kept it and I love it, but I'm too afraid to wear it because it's just so beautiful.
I can understand that. Of course, it's made to be worn. All right, well, let's talk about the stone itself. You mentioned, of course, it comes from Australia, South Australia. They're called black opals. Although it's got this very deep, vibrant blue colour, they're called black opals. The trick about them is to see how many different places of rainbow colour they've got.
Quite a few.
Quite a few. And can you see it's very well distributed? What we look for are the reds and the yellows and the tangerines. Those are the key colours, as well as the sort of body colour of blue and green. It's a very, very vibrant stone indeed. It's a very unusual shape. The reason I think it's triangular is that I think it follows the shape of the stone in the native rock. It's got it all. The next question is, how old is the piece of jewellery? And the piece of jewellery itself is around about 1915.
Ah, okay.
It's arts and crafts. Now, for the first time, I'm going to take it out of the box to show the back of it, because the back of it is actually plain gold. It's stamped at the back with the mark 15 for 15 carat.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to say one little tiny caveat to you. With opals, sometimes, rarely, they put a back plate of darkening material to make them look a slightly better colour. I don't think you need to worry. I think I've looked at it very carefully with my lens, and I think it's absolutely right. So let's look at it at the front again. Now, you can hear I am very keen on this, can't you? So, ever had it valued?
When I received it for my birthday, we had it valued. It was maybe about £700.
Perfectly justifiable figure.
Yeah.
Would you rather I said £4,000 today?
Very calm. Yes, that would be very good.
Good. All right. Well, there we are then. I'm telling you. I think it's a really, really beautiful opal.
Oh, thank you.
And I see a lot of opals on the Antiques Roadshow. Boy, this one talks to me. It's a good one. So thank you very much indeed.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
The embossed chasing, it's superb. It makes me smile to see a ring like this. It's just got so much character, and to see it in its original box, it just makes me feel very excited. When I opened the box and saw this opal, oh my gosh, it is superb. And then I opened another box and see this fabulous diamond. Tell me first, how did you get the opal?
The opal actually came from my husband's family, because his father went to Australia, and I think he brought it back because he loved opals. So I just have to say at the beginning as well that I have given all of these already to my daughters. So
That's a caveat now.
Have that clearly now, that they all have it.
With these stones, they are over 100 million years old. There was an actual inland sea called the Artesian Basin. And when that receded, it left soluble silica. And that hardened and solidified in cracks and voids. And two places in Australia where that now is seen is Lightning Ridge and Coober Pedy. But it is Lightning Ridge where you get what's called the black opal. But they are incredibly rare. And when we say black opal, it is because it's got the dark background as opposed to other opals where you will have a whitish background. This is just a fabulous example. I mean, it is the complete colour of the rainbow, and they've always been a sign of good luck. I know people think that opals are bad luck, but they're not. Now, this is actually set in about late Victorian period. It's museum quality, and you've got these wonderful graduating diamonds, cushion-shaped diamonds around, and it's set in silver and gold. Now, tell me about this one.
I think it's hideous.
Now, that's not what I was expecting you to say.
Well, it's completely unwearable.
Right, okay, carry on.
And it's known in the family as a soup plate. Don't ask me why it got called the soup plate. I have no idea. But it came to our family through an uncle who used to do a grand tour in the summers. And he would insist that all family members were nice to him when he came round.
Was that hard?
Well, not at all. I think my mother was very good at it because she was the one who was then given this brooch. And then she gave it to my elder brother. But after a few years, he sort of went tapping on her door and said, actually, Mum, what I really need is a septic tank. And she said, well, if I give you money for the septic tank, I'll have my brooch back.
Well, it is a late Victorian silver and gold brooch, and you can take off the brooch fitting and make it into the pendant. That centre stone is quite a large diamond.
Yeah, it is quite big. But it's not a very pretty one, though. It's.
But why do you say that?
Well, it's a sort of slightly dull yellow.
The diamond itself is probably about 8 carats. Now, you're right, it does have a bit of yellow in it, and then the more yellow there is, the cheaper the price. Now, things have really changed in the last decade. There's been more appreciation of stones that are not your D-flawless. They all look the same. They've all got the same proportions. This, I can feel the hand of the cutter because it's not totally done by machine, it's done by hand. that is going to be in the region of around about £35,000.
Right.
So with the opal at auction, you'd be looking at £40,000 comfortably.
Oh, well, my daughter will be very pleased. It'll be her running away fund too.
Why, was it your running away
yes.
fund? Thank you very much for bringing them in. It really has made my day.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like them.
This is a wonderful jewel. When I saw it, it invites you to pick it up because it's so exotic. I even tried it on. It's quite small.
It is quite small, but
it's big in stature.
yeah, and it's heavy.
And it's heavy. So tell me, who wore it?
My father,
And is this him here?
yeah,
What was his job?
he was a doctor in Thailand.
Was he a doctor to anybody particularly?
He served the Thai royal family throughout his career, and after he retired from his doctor, he went on to be a human rights commissioner of Thailand.
Oh my gosh, so quite an incredible career.
He worked until the last year of his life.
Oh my gosh. And when did you receive it?
My dad passed away 11 years ago, but 2 years ago when I went back home in Thailand and my mom asked me if I would like to keep some of his jewelry.
Do you remember him wearing it?
Yes, I do, vividly.
Clearly, he loved his gems and jewels.
Yes.
That's quite a ring to wear.
You know, he loves wearing jewelry, and he actually wears jewelry daily.
More than one ring at a time?
No, not at a time, but, you know, he picked which one he wears, you know, today. You can see that, you know, there is some damage because he wore it so often.
The emerald has got two quite large chips, unfortunately, but still, it is such an impressive ring. And it must have been made in Thailand.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because, and why I say that is because if you look at the side here, the embossed chasing, it's superb.
It is amazing, you know, the way that the design go around.
Yes, it goes all the way around. You've also got these 4 rose-cut diamonds.
Oh, right.
And you've got this sort of purple, lilac and green enamel. It's sort of like the lotus flower almost. Really stunning. And it's in 22 karat gold. I mean, it's in a very high karat gold. But of course, there's no marks here.
No, it's not usual for old Thai jewelry to have hallmarks. I absolutely no idea how old it is.
1940s, something like that. And of course, emerald was all about hope and rebirth and nature and paradise. It's a wonderful stone to feel connected with.
That sounds lovely.
I have to value it as it is with the emerald chips, unfortunately. And I would say that in auction, you would be looking in the region of about £6,000 to £8,000.
Really? Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
It makes me smile to see a ring like this. It really does. It's beautiful. And thank you very much for sharing it with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
And my dad.
And your dad. I love to see a jewel in its original box. And this definitely looks like it's been on a real journey. Tell me about the journey.
Well, my granddad bought it for my nana in probably the 1930s or 40s.
It's quite a big ring. Was it an engagement ring?
I don't think it was engagement. I think it was probably a dress ring.
A dress ring?
Yeah.
Then this probably was worn for special occasions. What occasions would your grandparents be going to?
Well, my grandparents were publicans, but they had lots of society dues. I don't know if you bought it for a dress ring or for love or whatever.
Well, I think a bit of both.
Probably.
I mean, it's because it's quite a big diamond.
It is.
You know,
it is.
It's just under 2.5 carats.
Right.
In size. And it is set in platinum and 18 karat yellow gold. And it's got 2 diamonds on the shoulders, and they're with single cut diamonds, so not the full brilliant cut diamond. And it really does sparkle. It's fluorescing.
Right.
So if I put an actual UV light on it, not all diamonds do this, but some diamonds do this. Can you see how it just looks like if you go into a disco, that would light up like a beacon?
Yes.
And you say that it was given in about the 1930s. Well, that's about right for the style of cutting.
Oh, good.
So when I look at the stone, it's actually, I can see roughly when it was cut.
Right.
And what's giving this away is that normally with brilliant cut diamonds, they have what's called the point or the culée at the bottom,
Yes.
and it goes to a point. Well, up until about the 40s, there would be a slight gap at the bottom.
Right.
So it would have sort of like an extra facet at the bottom of the culée.
Right.
And this has that.
Oh.
You've probably noticed it's quite yellow.
I only know it's always been called a yellow diamond ring. Is it?
Well, it is. We always think of diamonds as white diamonds.
Yes.
And then the more yellow there is in the stone, the less the price. I like it. I really like this yellow. And I think we were getting a little bit fixated by it has to be really white. You know, this has real character to it. Coloured diamonds, we're now look to see if they are fancy colours. And there's various degrees. It's sort of like fancy intense, fancy vivid, fancy light,
Yes.
yellow. And I think this probably could be a fancy light yellow. It does have quite a large flaw inside the stone.
Right.
It's got two, in fact.
Has it? Oh.
So, but you know, these are natural flaws. It's been there. It's nothing that you've done to the stone.
No.
But when you're pricing a stone, we have to take that into account. So the colour, the cut, the clarity, and the carat weight. So the 4 C's, as you've probably heard. At auction, you're probably going to be looking at in the region of about £4,000 to £6,000.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed. That's wonderful.
But I just think it's just got so much character, and to see it in its original box, it just makes me feel very excited.
Thank you very much indeed.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Right.
You happy with that?
Very. Yes.
At first glance, it is definitely an Omega Speedmaster Professional. But it doesn't say that on the dial. It's got something else very different that makes it unusual and rather special. We've got this mission logo, which is the Apollo-Soyuz mission. That was 3 American astronauts, 2 Russians meeting up in the Apollo capsule and the Soyuz capsule in space in 1975. Remember, this was the height of the Cold War, so this was an achievement to do this. And at the end of the mission, a particular distributor in Italy, a guy called Macchi, decided to order up a batch of these. Some say up to 500, others say 400. But he ordered these things and they were manufactured in 1976, so almost a year after the mission. Now, I notice you've got an original receipt here. Did you buy it yourself or not?
No, I didn't buy it. It was my brother's watch. He bought this watch unknown to us as a family. Unfortunately, he died later that year in a car crash. The watch came back with his effects. I was the only boy in the family. My parents gave it to me.
And did you wear it?
No, it's not really my type of watch. I found it a bit heavy, a bit bulky. I stuck it in a drawer and thought, well, it may come in useful someday. And 20 years later, I got it out.
And we have a date there, which is the early part of 1980, 330,000 lira. Sounds a lot of money, but actually the rate of exchange was sort of interesting. It equates to just under £300.
300?
300.
Wow.
That's still a chunk of money then, a chunk of money. From the collector's point of view, the pushers are fatter. The case is rather different to accommodate the big pushers. It had more of a chunkier strap, which was the 1168, which this one is. So this is all 100% original. Now, if the watches were all made in 1976, and you know that because I noticed you've got an extract from the archives, which Omega would have told you it was made in 76. They've basically validated it and said it's exactly the right thing. Why do you think there was a gap between date of manufacture and selling of some 4+ years?
No one liked it, maybe. I don't know.
Suddenly, by the mid-70s, mechanical watches, that was it. Everybody wanted the Japanese quartz.
Okay.
So these things sat around for years before there was a slight resurgence in the interest in mechanical watches.
Okay.
So historically quite interesting. This provenance is great. You know, your guarantees all dated, the bill of sale, the watch, extract from the archives. And it sat in that drawer for ages. And you don't really love it that much, do you?
No, not really. It's not my type of thing. I still find it very heavy to wear.
Yeah.
No.
So many people on this programme say, we'll never think of selling it. But what sort of figure might prompt you to get rid of it?
I don't know.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah, go on.
That's what you're here for, really, isn't it?
It would be interesting.
Right, OK. I think you're going to get a minimum of 80,000 for it.
Really?
Really. So I have a feeling that you're not going to be owning that for too much longer, are you?
No. No.
Of all the Omega Speedmasters, this is about as rare as it gets.
Wow, that's more than I expected.
And so for your brother working in Italy, that really was, with hindsight, a very, very good purchase.
Wasn't it just? Well, when Richard told me the price, I just went, wow. I mean, it just blew my mind that something as simple as that could be worth so much money to somebody. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. I was thinking of selling it anyway, but I think that's just pushed it up. Selling it is the best thing. Just got to try and hide it from my two sisters now.
This really is quite an unusual timepiece. Just tell me briefly the relationship between this and this gentleman here.
Well, the gentleman there is my father. He was in the RAF in the Second World War. As a general dog's body, basically, and what have you. But he served in France and Singapore and so on. We came across it, sadly, when he passed away 34 years ago. It's been basically in a drawer ever since.
I'm not surprised, really, because it's not the sort of thing you could ever wear, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
I mean,
right.
Just putting it to scale, it is significantly bigger than a standard wristwatch, and the size of these lugs are massive. So why do you think the lugs are big?
Well, I think
obviously not to go on a wrist.
The reason that the lugs are massive is because it would have had a very large, thick leather strap that went over a flying jacket.
Oh, right,
okay.
I see.
So it was worn on the wrist, but not conventionally.
All right.
Okay, it says chronograph a ritorno. So Italian, a reversing chronograph,
Right.
but it's by Leonidas. The company are Swiss. They started in the 1840s and they combined or merged in about the 1960s with Hoya. And Leonidas Hoya, really then after the Japanese courts invasion, they became the primary timers for all the international sporting events.
Right.
So great provenance from that point of view. And this is probably 1935, possibly towards the start of the war. I'm sure you've probably tried out. You press the button at 3 o'clock and off it goes in a clockwise direction. And then you press again
and it comes back again.
And it goes back. It's an intriguing thing to use. I have to be quite honest, and I never having operated one before, I don't know when you actually started it, when you dropped your bombs, etc., etc. And if anybody could shed light on that, I'd love to know.
Yes, so would we.
So would we, yes.
Yeah. So, money. So no one's going to wear it on the wrist.
No.
It's too big, and it doesn't tell the time anyway, so it would be a pointless exercise. So the military collectors will like it, particularly the Italians. Okay? So let's say, realistically, for something like that, £2,500?
Right.
You happy with that?
Very. Yes. Okay.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. So, Rolex collectors obviously know what this is, and this is a Rolex Oyster GMT Master.
Yeah.
And they refer to everything by the reference number. In
Right,
this
okay.
case, it is the reference 1675. It's also here on the bill of sale, which I see is from a Hong Kong retailer in the early part of 1971.
Yeah.
It's obviously not bought by you, so who bought it in 1971?
Yeah, it was basically a gift to my dad, and then about 5 years ago he passed it to me for inheritance. He's still alive, but he just thought give it to me to see what I want to do with it, and it's been in a drawer ever since.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the history of these things.
Okay.
The airline industry in the 40s and 50s were making much longer trips, transatlantic, for instance.
Yeah.
And pilots used to fly and work on GMT, Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, well before your time, you've probably heard of them, Pan Am, Pan American Airways.
Yeah.
They were in discussion with Rolex in the mid-50s to develop a watch with an extra hand that could be set to GMT.
All right, okay.
And this thing was developed to say, really specifically for Pan Am initially in 1954.
Right, okay.
By 1959, or certainly just around 5 years later, this reference, which is the 1675, became the standard GMT Master.
Right, okay.
And what is so lovely about this is you've got all the paperwork, what we call in the trade the full set. Things to point to, the bezel is original.
Right.
Had it been changed, the value would have been reduced.
Right, okay.
The bracelet is not original.
Okay.
Okay. This will be what they call a service replacement. It's the only thing that spoils it, because otherwise it's lovely original condition. So the bill of sale, 1,040 Hong Kong dollars. I reckon that probably would have been just under £200.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay. That £200 50 years ago has actually done quite well. If it had had the original bracelet with the full set, we could have put 2 noughts on and made it 20,000.
Wow.
But it's not got the original
No.
bracelet, so I'm going to take it back to, in this condition, around £14,000.
What? Whoa. No way.
Yeah. You happy?
Yeah. I didn't expect that at all.
This is a lovely selection and actually difficult to find now.
In the 70s, I wore an outfit like this.
So this is a small selection of the costume jewellery you've shown me. And you're obviously a little bit hooked.
Well, in the 1980s, I was living in London and I was invited to a private jewellery sale in a flat. And so as soon as I saw it, I thought, that's pirate treasure. I love it. I think it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
This piece by Miriam Haskell, she insisted on really high quality. I mean, these faux pearls are all individually dipped. They're extremely high quality. And, you know, she became one of the top labels from the early 1920s on. And of course, this by De Mario, who had worked for Haskell, is again beautifully made. I mean, this is a period, you know, we're talking 1950s, when people were demanding really good quality costume jewellery. I mean, costume jewellery comes in all sorts of qualities, but you've managed to pick some of the better costume jewellery. And it was, you know, about this time with Mamie Eisenhower was wearing costume jewellery to a presidential ball. So it had moved up a league. It was then acceptable to have, as long as it was well designed. That was the whole thing. Now, these by Napier, they have a really nice little story, don't they?
I bought them from this girl and she gave me a photocopy of an advert where Marilyn Monroe was wearing the earrings.
I mean, could you get any more glamorous than that?
Ultimate bling, isn't it, really?
Total. And these by Kenneth J. Lane. I mean, these have got a bit of everything in them. It hints at Egypt, it hints at the Asian, and these, again, have got a lot of bling. This is a lovely selection and actually difficult to find now. That's the point. Now, value. The Miriam Haskell, I'd say, has got to be 1,000 to 1,500.
Right, okay.
I mean, it really is top quality and incredibly good condition. The De Mario, interestingly, because it's 3-string, I'd put a little higher than that. I'd say 1,500 to 2,000.
My goodness.
The earrings tend to be not as popular as necklaces, but actually with their connection and also their Napier, they're incredibly well made. So I'd probably put them at 1,000, 1,500 pounds.
Right, okay.
And I love the Kenneth J. Lane. I think they're a little bit less. I think probably 500 to 600 pounds.
Well, it's truly pirate treasure. It's wonderful. I wonder what it would be worth in pieces of 8.
Well, we really do have a taste of the 70s here. What drew you to these dolls?
My mum worked at Queen's University in Belfast, and she worked in a department called social anthropology, which probably in the early 70s was quite exotic for us. Certainly in our troubled times, we had many presents coming in from her friends that worked in this department. And one of the ladies was American. And she brought my sister and myself one each of these dolls from America. And they are from a company called Kenner Blythe. They were produced in 1972, and I believe that they only ran for 1 year.
Yeah, and of course the reason they only ran for 1972 is in some ways quite obvious.
Quite obvious, and was quite happy for her to be in the back of my mother's china cabinet and really not to look at them too much because of their slightly maybe alien look, the big eyes.
Well, I think what's hysterical about them is the massive head, the eyes, and then the tiny feet.
The tiny feet.
I mean, that
Absolutely. And of course they don't stand, but of course they do have one special feature which makes them even more terrifying.
Go on.
For most little girls, which is, if you pull this string, 50-year-old there.
The eyes change colour.
The eyes change colour. I suppose I've had this ambivalent relationship with them. I did hate them when I was little and then have grown over the years. I suppose it's like everything, you know, the 70s have gone, but the retro feel to these, I think this just captures that groovy 70s appeal.
Absolutely. I think these are so 70s. And the clothing, I mean, look at this. This Afghan.
The Afghan coat.
The travellers, I remember them.
Fabulous.
I mean, I can't believe it.
I love these. The knee-high boots. When I was little in the 70s, that was the ultimate, a pair of pink plastic boots. This is an original shoe from my own doll, but it was missing one, so I have waited about 7 years possibly to find the other one, and eventually one orange shoe came up online and I was able to get it. So it is a bit of a labour of love, but that's part of the joy of collecting these things.
You don't think it's a little bit of an obsession?
Oh, yes. I would happily admit that it is an obsession. That's okay.
Yeah, the thing is, what they've got going for them, they are absolutely in great condition. You've got the boxed set, and they're actually rare. They have become massive, mainly in the States. So let's just talk a little bit about value. So I think in today's market, you'd certainly be looking at 300 for this, and certainly 1,000 for the doll.
Already?
I would say maybe 5,000 with your case, the other dolls, and these fantastic clothes. And I'm still laughing that in the 70s, I'm a bit horrified too, in the 70s I wore an outfit like this.